Hey everyone, it's Mike with It's Pittsfield Tonight. I'm going to jump right into it, and I'm going to make this one short. I know I say that a lot, but I have a lot of videos going right now, a lot of candidate videos that I put up. Video I put up yesterday discussing a couple big topics. One specifically being should sitting city councilors and sitting school committee members be endorsing others running for city council and school committee. So check that out if you haven't seen that one and you're interested in it. This video I want to talk about specifically Springside Park. I wasn't going to do a video today other than the candidate interviews that I put up earlier this morning, but I felt it necessary because I have mentioned, got to watch out for that, I have mentioned Springside Park a lot of times since the past year and a half when ServiceNet in the middle of the pandemic abruptly closed the emergency COVID shelter, which was located at the former St. Joseph's High School. And when they did that, Springside Park filled up with a lot of people in homelessness that had nowhere to go. The city did not handle that correctly. It was an absolute disaster. The personal belongings of the individuals that were staying at the emergency shelter, all their belongings were thrown into the trash. The city and ServiceNet tried to defend that by saying they abandoned their belongings there. Myself, along with another individual in the community who's a big advocate for our homeless, we found their belongings in a dumpster. Some of the city employees were nice enough, along with the director, Ricardo Morales of DPW there, he allowed us to go in and try to retrieve belongings. Most of it was destroyed. I actually threw up a few times. The smell was horrendous. It was a dumpster that had been sitting in 90-degree heat for a few days. But we were able to retrieve phones, a backpack with an iPad, a wallet, identification, housing applications, papers from the VA, prescriptions that we were not able to save the medication, but the refill for the prescriptions was crucial for a few of these people. And we were able to retrieve those things. It brought a lot of attention to what was happening in that park, which overall brought a lot of attention to the situation with homelessness in our city. I feel personally, if I hadn't brought that out into the forefront the way I did, it wouldn't be a discussion that was at the top of the list today. And thankfully it is, because once the community got engaged, all of you started demanding answers. All of you started volunteering. The problem is, when I brought that attention to what was happening at Springside Park, I wanted to see an immediate solution, which was to have the emergency shelter reopened immediately. The mayor, along with ServiceNet, put statements out. One of our community development director put statements out saying that the Diocese of Springfield told them they had to get out. That wasn't the case, not with the information I got. And that's why the diocese also allowed them to reopen it. They never kicked them out. There was a lot of misinformation being thrown around. A lot of the people will say in City Hall were pointing the finger at me, saying I was throwing misinformation around, which was not the case. People died in that park, and I've continued to cover that story because there's still people 2 years later living in the park. Some of them the same people that were visited by candidates that were running for office, by city councilors, and I have been talking about this continually, that this is a massive problem. How can we allow that to be going on in the parks? It's not fair to the residents, it's not fair to people who use that park, and it's definitely not fair to the people that are living in there. If they have issues that need to be addressed, which obviously they do, they're living in a park. It needs to be addressed. We can't keep kicking this can down the road. Well, Berkshire's reported yesterday or today that the Friends of Springside Park, which is a volunteer group that they pick up trash and they do a lot of volunteer work to maintaining that park. They're suspending their trash pickups now because one of the volunteers picking up trash was jabbed with with a needle, a used needle. How many times did I say that that could happen? How long are we going to kick this down the road? Are we going to wait until a child is hurt, something happens? And if you believe in prayer, which I'm a big person of faith, I know everyone has their own, I'm not preaching on that, but if you believe in prayer, please pray for that individual, that everything is fine, that I'm sure they have to go through some tests and stuff that they're probably under immense anxiety waiting for the results of those. That's a pretty serious thing because intravenous drug use, there's a lot of known things attached to that. Hepatitis, HIV, there's things that can happen. It's a very dangerous thing. Sorry about that. So anyway, it's a huge issue that we need to bring back out of the forefront. We need to demand that this cannot continue in that park anymore. If I was the mayor, I'm telling you that wouldn't have happened in the first place, but I'm not the mayor. We need to demand out of our city leaders that this can no longer be kicked down the road. What are we waiting for? Are we waiting for more deaths? We've already had deaths in that park. And now, you know, a volunteer trying to do the right thing and picking up trash was stabbed with a needle. This is getting out of control. Those people living in that park, 2 years now of human waste in the park. I mean, where do you think that's going when they have to urinate or do whatever? That's in the park. There's drug use in the park. And now we're seeing that result through someone being stabbed with a dirty needle or a used needle. We're assuming it's used. I am anyway. Uncalled for. Absolutely uncalled for. So anyway, that's it for now. I had to do this video talking about that. Check out the iBerkshire's article. It goes in detail. They did a pretty good article on what happened. And I put, there's 2 new candidate videos up today. Matthew Cudlett, who's running in Ward 2, and Charles Cronick, who is also running in Ward 2. So check those out. I put them up about an hour or 2 ago. I have upcoming interviews with at-large Councilor Yuki Cohen and candidate for Ward 3, Kevin Sherman, and our Ward 7 City Councilor, Tony Mafuccio. Also, Tuesday, I have a really cool interview that I'm excited about with Desheen Moore. Desheen put together a program called Beat the Streets. Many of you might have heard of it before. It was a big basketball tournament they did, but he also has organized trash pickups in the West Side, and I'm excited to be talking to Desheen about that this coming Tuesday, tomorrow. So that is it for now. We've got a lot of rain ahead of us, so stay dry, but be lucky it's not snow yet, and I'll catch you all in the next day or two.